Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Action Figure Showcase, we have part 1 of my favorite wrestling stables in my collection. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, today I'm going to be looking at all of my favorite stables in my figure collection, and we just recently did my favorite tag teams in my collection, and I had a lot. And while I went through that, I was kind of looking, and some of the figures I wanted to get to, I'd consider a trio. Some of them I would consider a full stable. So sometimes there's tag teams just within a stable, and sometimes it's like a manager might have a tag team, and I wouldn't consider that a trio. But we'll get to trios later. Today, and for the next few episodes of Action Figure Showcase, I'm going to just be looking at stables or groups. So 4 or more is kind of what I'm thinking. So starting off today, I've got the Wyatt family, and just starting out, I wanted to get the original 3 guys from the Wyatt family. And I did debate whether or not I was going to put them in the trio video, but right here we've got Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan. And Eric Rowan here is the original Elite 29, I believe, with the updated sheep mask. I bought it loose, so I never got the original mask that came with him, which I think one actually came in a battle pack as well. And I did swap on Luke Harper arms, so they weren't as bulky. I think, yeah. And then I gave him the bigger arms over here, just because they fit a little bit better. This Luke Harper is head swap. So this was from, I think this was from his second Elite that we got, but I wanted him to have the red flannel instead of the gray. So I think both of these are very nice figures. I think that the Eric Rowan looks really good. The arm articulation is cut off by the sleeves there, because it's a hard plastic that goes all the way out. So it's a normal shoulder joint, but the molding for this cuts it off. So he can't really lift up his arms, which is, no, I've seen people shave it down. I'm not going to do that. I don't do a ton of posing with that figure specifically. Honestly, I might I want to do a pick fed, and I love the Wyatt family, so I could see myself putting them in there, modding that a little bit to make it a little easier to pose. But outside of that, I think it looks really nice. Same with the Luke Harper. The Bray Wyatt figure, I grabbed this one, which is, I believe it's head swapped. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what head came on. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's the one that came on it originally. But that is from the Toys R Us Build-A-Figure wave. I think it was like Bray, Undertaker, Daniel Bryan, and Brock Lesnar, I want to say, or John Cena. John Cena was in there from WrestleMania 30, which I'm still disappointed Bray Wyatt was not given that win over John Cena. But anyway, the jacket, I think, is no clue. I do not remember where that jacket came from, but I thought it fit for him. And then it is the old articulation, no true effects or anything. But to round out the stable, of course, we have the Elite Daniel Bryan that came in the jumpsuit, which I loved the storyline with Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt. I was surprised that it kind of just led to Daniel Bryan beating Bray Wyatt, but in hindsight, I should have just looked at every feud as a way for Bray Wyatt to lose, because they really had a knack for building him up and then just having him lose. But anyway, that Daniel Bryan figure, I thought it was cool. I didn't really care for the figure, but when it came with the jumpsuit, I thought that was a cool touch. So I have a couple, and I just keep this one posed with the jumpsuit and keep him posed with my Wyatt family. But then to really push the stable over the top here, we had to bring in the Braun Strowman Elite, and I don't remember which wave this was. I had originally passed on it, and I was like mind blown when he debuted, because I had no idea, like, it wasn't something I had thought about. He'd never even been on NXT TV except for as a Rosebud with Adam Rose, and then he just debuted with his massive black sheep mask, and he's just a gigantic dude. It's Braun Strowman. But I thought it was really cool elite to get just to match these guys. And even though they weren't all in it together, just when I think of the Wyatt family, one, I wish there would have been more family members, but I would like to have them all together. So had to start out here with one of my favorites, personal favorite stables and figures here, the Wyatt family. Next up, we have JBL and his cabinet, and Jillian Hall was also a part of this. I do not have a Jillian Hall figure. Maybe one day, I don't know if we're ever going to get a Mattel version, but I could probably track down a Jakks version of Jillian Hall to throw in here. But we have JBL, Orlando Jordan, and the Basham brothers, and these are all customs. We have gotten an official release of JBL, but I do not like the body that they use for him, so I used the Mean Mark Callis torso here, put on some different legs, which actually I think are JBL legs, and then gave him the knee brace and the decal on the back there, which I think we got a different design. We got like a skyline design on the back of his trunks, which I don't know if that's the Houston skyline. I think that's where JBL's from. I know he's from Texas. I don't remember where. But then I use a Jakks head for that JBL as well, just because I didn't love I think it's Elite 23 JBL head sculpt that we got. I've always liked this Jakks one. Obviously, he's got the Undisputed Championship there. That's the smaller one that came with Eddie Guerrero, I think it is. For the Basham brothers, I think that the legs I used were from an Arn Anderson, like 2 Arn Anderson figures, or like Cowboy Bob Orton has the same size legs, something along those lines. Those were like a couple of the earliest customs I made, and I don't really pose them because I didn't use a good quality paint. I didn't really sand anything down. I just painted the figure. Like, if you just look at the knees, I didn't even like paint in there. So I'll redo those eventually, but I'm happy with the formulas and everything, and I think they look good still. So they've got some Jakks heads, Dana Bryan bodies, relatively simple customs, but ones I'll definitely revisit. And then for the Orlando Jordan, I used a Booker T with some Junkyard Dog arms. And then, of course, he's got his black and yellow attire, his tattoos and everything. This is a Jakks head that I repainted a little bit just so that it matched better. It wasn't terrible, but still a relatively simple group to put together. But I hated JBL so much. And honestly, it's pretty easy to just hate JBL in general. But when he was WWE champ, when he beat Eddie Guerrero, I hated him so much. And I wanted to commemorate that with some figures. So here is JBL's cabinet. Moving on. Next up, we have one of the worst planned, worst thought out, laziest booking stables I've ever seen in my years of watching WWE. We have Retribution, and I'm pretty sure I might have done a showcase with these guys, and I couldn't remember I couldn't get their name correct. I kept calling them like Reckoning. I don't know. These guys were so mysterious and then so pointless in WWE, but these figures I think are fantastic. We never got Slapjack, who I don't know if he was even in the group long, but so I think Mia Yim's character was Reckoning. I don't remember, right? Oh, Mace, right? Yeah, Mace. And then obviously this was Mustafa Ali, and then T-Bar, and the names, just everything about it was just, it was bad, but I think these figures are really nice. The cloth goods I thought with this figure were really nice. I like the head sculpts. I like that we get removable masks for the Mace figure, and I didn't really know what he looked like when we got this figure, because he only wore the mask, and then once we got him as Massey in the Maximum Male models, I realized that the head sculpt was actually really nice. Like, it's spot on as far as his likeness and everything. The mask is just ridiculous. And then the Mustafa Ali is the same formula we'd gotten with his previous elites, and I liked the removable mask. It fit well. Get it off here. He's got double jointed arms this time. The black and white is very, very simple. Now that I look at this sculpt, his eyes are a little wonky. The sculpt is a little off. Maybe that's why I had the mask on this one. But the figure, like I said, the figure itself, the cloth goods with him, and I guess we get the rubber coat with the Mace character as well. I thought it looked really good. Like, it didn't really have complaints about these figures, just the figure wise. Like I said, as far as Retribution actually goes, they were a waste of my time. And then the T-Bar figure, I really like that leg mold. I'm pretty sure it was new when they introduced it with him. He's got double jointed arms. I don't know if the Mace does. He's got the big elbow pads on, so it doesn't have a lot of range of movement, and the legs on him also don't move great. Like, I think he's on a Hillbilly Jim body mold with updated arms and everything. But like I said, figures that were fine. They didn't do much for me on TV. Oh, the T-Bar also had a swappable head, so you had the maskless head with him. So they did put a lot into these. I'm sure Mattel was like, what the Sam Hill, when they did absolutely nothing with them. You know, there was only so much they had to work with during the pandemic era as far as wrestlers and everything. But I had to sneak Retribution in here, whether or not they did anything on the screen. Next up, we have one of my favorite all-time stables, and one of my, easily one of my top 5 favorite just groups in my collection. It took a long time to get these all together. A lot of different series, but we have the full Nation of Domination here. Mark Henry, Farouk, D'Lo, and The Rock. And there's even a few different versions of these characters you could throw in that all work for the Nation of Domination. So this Mark Henry was from the Decade of Domination line. That was really hard to get. It was a subline at Walmart. It was their 10-year anniversary of the Mattel license, and we got Kane was in there, Mark Henry, obviously, Natalia. I think there was an Undertaker in there, and there might have been 2 waves. I don't remember. I found this Mark Henry. They were literally half my Walmart was shut off, was blocked off because they were remodeling, and I saw the Decade of Domination shipper. I cut the plastic off. I took off some cardboard, and I got my Mark Henry. That was the only time I saw Mark Henry in stores, and I was in an off limits area of my Walmart. But I had to do what I had to do, and I'm glad I did, which at this point we'll probably end up getting him in the greatest hits line, and maybe they can give us a little bit better articulation. The figure, I think, looks great, doesn't move at all. The Kama figure that was in the Legends line, that was easy to get. I didn't like that they went with the old torso for him instead of the updated one they'd given us with his Chase figure as the Supreme Fighting Machine, but it still looks good. I don't know if it probably, honestly, just scales a little bit better next to Mark Henry and D'Lo and everyone. But I still think that sculpt for him is really nice, that he came with the vest and the hat and everything. The Farouk figure originally came with an Elite Rock, which the Monday Night Wars Elite is that same attire for the Rock, but the Farouk, we are getting re-released in the Legends line with the updated skin tone, a little bit different deco, and then there's a Chase version, so I think there'll be 2 different looks for the Farouk. But they use arms that I don't know if they've used on anyone else for this Farouk figure. I don't know if anyone else has this sculpt for these. And the torso as well. It was such a unique figure, and that too. So that was a 2-pack that was online and at Kmart, I think, it was weird. I saw it, I got it at Kmart. I had a Kmart that no one shopped at, and that's why it's out of business, but I got a lot of nice figures there. D'Lo also came in the Legend series right after Kama. He has a Chase version that I wasn't able to pick up, but I didn't care as much. I needed my Nation of Domination D'Lo. And then the Rock that I have is actually the ringside exclusive. So I have this I don't know what kind of shirt you call it. I don't know. I can't think of the word I'm wanting to think of. But I use the ringside exclusive Rock that has the Rocky Maivia on the front, and then says The Rock on the back, and the Elite 100 head. And then here is the Rock figure that I was talking about, the Monday Night Wars Rock, that has that meme head sculpt on him with the more traditional Nation of Domination attire there. And then I couldn't have my Nation of Domination up here without my Owen Hart custom. So there's my custom Owen Hart Chad Gable body, some lower legs or some calves from like a Tommaso Ciampa, I think. And then this was a misprinted head sculpt from House 14 that I got like one of the first times I got figures from House 14. You can see the back there. And I made this figure, and the neck peg, so not the plastic neck peg on the inside, like the plastic piece that holds the neck peg. If you ever crack the torso, you know that the peg like ports onto something. Mine broke off. I'd done the whole custom, and then I was like taking off the head, and it broke. So underneath this Owen sculpt, I hide a small screw that literally keeps that neck peg from coming out, which is the most janky thing I've ever done for a custom. It doesn't give me a lot of room to move, but it works. I'll come back, I'll revisit that one day, but there is my Nation of Domination. Whoops. And to finish up today, we have the stable. We have Degeneration X, and while these guys, I don't know if a lot of people would consider DX to be the greatest stable of all time. I was born in 1992, so when these guys rose to prominence, I was at a very, very impressionable young age, and every one of my friends at school at some point or other got in trouble for doing the DX chop, and that was just part of life then. And I could not have these guys in the showcase, let alone outside the first episode. When I think of stables, these are always one of the first groups that comes to mind. I love DX. They were such a massive part of the Attitude Era, kicking things off. They all would go on, like everyone would go on very like kind of long winding paths. Everyone knows about like their struggles outside of wrestling, amongst like everyone here. Triple H obviously has settled into a much different role than his time in the Attitude Era, but when I think of DX, like this is kind of what I picture. I've fixed up everything here. So the New Age Outlaws I actually talked about a little bit in my tag team showcase. I did throw those guys in there, and I think I didn't have the shirt completed with this Road Dogg when I was going through that, but I got the decal thrown on there to give him a little bit of a different look. I put some tape on his hands to give him a more accurate look to what his wrist and hand tape looked like when he was wrestling. And then the Billy Gunn, I just fixed up with, I gave him a larger torso. I didn't think that him and Triple H should have the same size torso. He's always been a really big guy. Give him some larger arms as well, but I really like that head sculpt and the headband. I did glue that on so I wouldn't lose it, but it actually came with a couple originally when we got it, like Elite 27, I want to say, something around there. It had like it had like the bandana look here, and then like a actual DX headband you could throw in there, which I lost, of course. The Triple H, I got a sleeveless shirt from Threadhead, which we got in the Legends line. I did not like it. I remember it sleeveless, and we got a t-shirt version with a different version of DX, or of Triple H, and I just wasn't fond of that. I don't remember if this is the head that came on this Triple H, but it's just my favorite version of like DX, like DX era Triple H. So I wanted to throw that on there. And then this is the Chase version, I think, of his SummerSlam Elite. The China figure, I don't remember exactly. I think I swapped legs from her WrestleMania Elite onto one of the DX Army China figures, and then she just doesn't have the soft goods vest on. I'm pretty sure that's how that went. And then the X-Pac was Elite 33. I took his torso, put that torso on the Legends X-Pac legs, and then I repainted the green on there. It was red. I repainted whatever was on there in red with green, and then put the kick pads from Elite 33 on there. So I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but that was always my favorite attire, was the black and green with the white on the inside of the legs there. So that's what I wanted for my DX. But that is it. That is everything for today's showcase. if you like what you're seeing here, you want to go check out some more showcases. We've got a lot on the channel, and I'm always open to suggestions, some ideas from you guys for not only what I'm currently doing, but if you have something that you think I've missed, something from my collection you think would be cool to see, I always appreciate you guys throwing opinions in the comments. Outside of that, please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.